You're listening to Press This, a podcast that drives into the heart of WordPress and the community. I'm your host, Brian Gardner, WordPress advocate at WP Engine. Each week, I'll explore various topics, providing valuable insights and actionable tips for navigating the ever-evolving world of WordPress. You can subscribe to Press This on Red Circle, iTunes, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app. You can also download the episodes directly from WMR.fm. Hey everybody, welcome back to Press This. I am your host, Brian Gardner, and today we have a very special episode. We have historically brought in guests from the community, and I am joined by two folks from the community, but also because we have an agenda to share. Many of you who have followed WP Engine may know that last week we made the announcement, the very special announcement that WP Engine acquired NitroPack. And today we have the very special guests, co-founders Georgi and Mihail, to join us to talk a little bit about the acquisition, but really more importantly, around NitroPack itself, kind of what it is, why it exists, who it's for. And we just want to share that with the audience because the founding behind the product has a really great story, and the co-founders will share that. So before we get started, Georgi and Mihail, I'm going to have you guys sort of separately introduce yourselves, just give us a little bit of context as to your WordPress origin. But before we go there, congratulations. Congratulations to you both on a well-deserved acquisition. I know from personal experience, specifically with WP Engine acquiring StudioPress and our Genesis framework, I have sat in the same seat you guys are in right now. So I understand that it's busy times and there's a lot going on. So thank you first and foremost for taking the time to be on the show. Mihail, let's just start with you. A little bit of your WordPress origin story, then Georgi, and then we'll kind of get into like how did that lead to NitroPack, and we'll kind of just go from there.
Hey Brian, thanks for having us. Your pleasure. It's been a very busy last week, let me tell you. And talking about very busy, we have been trying to be on the busy side for the past 14 years with Georgi. So how NitroPack came to fruition, we had a pretty big customer who was having a very busy e-commerce website operating in the Middle East. That was back in 2011, 2012, I guess. So we were working on a platform which is called OpenCart, and that was a platform of choice for this customer in particular. And the store was great. We made it, so it was it was pretty okay. But the speed around the website was never where the customer wanted it. So they would always complain about different type of fallbacks and about different type of experiences that they were causing some churn. So essentially what we did is we said, all right, we know how to solve this. We created NitroPack. And the reason why we called it NitroPack is because it combined more than one optimization metric. So we would smash and optimize the images. So we will minify the resources. We will take care of the CSS, HTML. And since it had more than one feature, we called it NitroPack. We came with this concept in 2019 to WordPress, since we believe this is where the market is. We love open source. We love serving a much larger array of customers. And this is how we came to exist in the WordPress store. And I'll let Georgi continue the story from here.
Yeah, just building up on what Mihail said, basically, when we launched NitroPack IO in 2019, basically what we wanted to achieve is to offer an all-in-one solution, because like it was too difficult to have CDN on one side, image optimization on another side, caching on third side, then fonts optimization on fourth side. So we just decided to combine everything in one product and call it NitroPack IO. So this is how the current and the big version of NitroPack was born, NitroPack IO.
I will admit, so I'm going to like to be transparent. I have been building WordPress websites since 2006, and one side of the web that I've never really sort of gotten into is sort of this whole caching and speed and CDNs and stuff like that, mainly because I personally have never had a need to use any of that. So because of that, I'm always a little bit behind the curve on understanding how caching works and how page speeds compressed and like all of that stuff. So it's been really fascinating for me to sort of dive a little deeper into this once the acquisition was announced and all of that. And so ahead of the creation of NitroPack, if you guys don't mind, Georgi, we'll start with you and then Mihail. Before NitroPack, just what is your experience with WordPress and how you came to WordPress ahead of even the idea of creating NitroPack?
Yeah, thanks for the question. Actually, WordPress, we all witnessed like an amazing progress in the WordPress ecosystem. My first touch to WordPress, I think it was in 2007 or 8, where I was building a WordPress website. Of course, since then things changed a lot, and I was also co-organizer of the first WordCamp in Bulgaria, where we invited Matt. This was, I think, in 2009 or 2010. I'm not exactly remembering the date. Since then things changed a lot, and since then, like me and Mihail, we started doing open source freemium. Then we moved to SaaS in the software world, and back to 2018, we crossed paths again with WordPress, where we identified that NitroPack.io can help a lot WordPress as a platform, just by creating synergies, by putting all the products together, which were available at that time of the market. And the success was not that far away from launching. Since we launched, the community and the users really appreciated our solution, and it started growing on a self-serve basis and completely like an online solution, online marketing solution out of Bulgaria.
Right. So my first touch with WordPress was the website that we built for my mom. Love you, mom. So we built that in 2012 or 2013. I can't recall the exact year, but after so many years, the website is still the same. We're just updating it. So it comes to speak as to the impact that WordPress have made in the whole ecosystem, the whole internet as a whole. So a lot of the things that we take today as granted wouldn't be here if it weren't the stepping stones. And I believe WordPress is a huge stepping stone for everyone to appreciate today.
WordPress back in the day was so simple, and then it became really complex, and then offered, just with it being open source, so many options and availability to sort of build into it and build out of it, which is certainly what NitroPack is. I will admit this, as I said, being a novice when it comes to this sort of thing, what I love most about it, and likely is sort of the foundation of the success you guys have had, and I'm going to read this kind of verbatim from your website in terms of like what NitroPack is, right? Because I think we should spend a few minutes just kind of talking about it. And so per your website, it says NitroPack is an all-in-one cloud-based site speed solution that optimizes WordPress, WooCommerce, and custom-based websites. And this is the catch. It requires no coding skills or tech skills, so every website owner can set it up and see improvements in less than 3 minutes. Now, that is a very bold claim, one that I certainly think, again, it helps with anybody, because like myself, you don't need to have the skills to do it. And as we're sort of in this no-code WordPress sort of evolution anyways, let's talk a little bit about the behind the scenes part of NitroPack, like what exactly it does, and then just kind of go into how it works and how a user can set it up. And I mean, it's practically for anybody who owns a WordPress website and beyond, because I realize that you guys, from my understanding, NitroPack and sort of the technology works outside of WordPress itself. But let's talk a little bit, maybe Georgi, I'll ask you specifically, what is the meat and potatoes, so to speak, of NitroPack, and how does it impact websites, even on a personal level?
Well, we are very different from everything else out there. And how we are different, this is basically how our technology is designed. This is what makes us very different. So when we were designing NitroPack, we took the bold decision to take out all the heavy lifting, any optimization operation, take it out fully out of the hosting provider and put it on our servers on the cloud. And that turned out to be a very good strategic and architectural decision, because this decision actually allowed us to scale and to apply much bigger optimizations that any other solution can provide. So, for example, heavy image optimizations, video optimizations, HTML optimization, anything that is super heavy and cannot run on shared hosting providers is with us. And we as a solution, we simply work on for the world, we are simply like an API, and we have a simple WordPress connector which connects to this API. We do all the heavy lifting. We have our crawler, which basically crawls your website as the way as Google crawls your website. We index the website through different devices. We create device-specific versions, and at the end, the result is device-specific, lightweight HTML files, which are directly served to your visitors from us, produced for you. That's in more or less how we operate and what our value is.
Now, at WP Engine, we obviously found the value in this in partnering with you ahead of the acquisition. I don't remember exactly how far back this goes, but I know that we launched Page Speed Boost to our customers, which is sort of takes parts of the technology behind NitroPack and implements that in a way where our customers can take advantage of it, which of course gives us a value add, puts us ahead of competition. Mihail, let me ask you this. I don't know the origin of that first part of the partnership. Can you speak to that a little bit with sort of the current iteration of Page Speed Boost via NitroPack and what that means for our customers specifically right now? And then we can kind of move into the what's next, what's to come a little bit more.
That's a great question, Brian. Thanks. So I think initially we started way back based on our shared DNA that WP Engine is a hosting which is fast. And then NitroPack is a product that obviously helps with speeding up a lot of things. To put some data behind this, so there is this portal which is called Google Data Studio, where you can go and kind of like compare how the different platforms rank and how the different caching solutions rank in terms of passing Core Web Vitals. What are Core Web Vitals? This is Google's way of showing how users experience a website once they actually land on the website. So this is a little bit different than page speed, so which is a score. It's an integer between 1 and 100. So based on this score, you pretty much see how fast your website loads in a shared test. So it's not like the real users, but it's like a server that simulates how fast your website loads. So this is the more important way where Google holistically sees how users perform once they land on your website. So this is very, very important for us. And of course, as we realized when initially we started talking with WP Engine folks, it's very quintessential for WP Engine as well. When we were designing NitroPack, I can only step on what Georgi said. We realized that the majority of the users want to focus on creating a successful business, successful blog, successful news outlet, gallery, self-representation website, you name it, and they want it to be as simple as possible. So the way that we designed NitroPack initially was that you have a very simple setup. You go, you register on our website, or you download NitroPack from the WordPress extension directory, and then you pretty much create an account, click one button, and then select the mode that you would like to have everything cached. So take it as the drive selector on the car, where you have comfort, you have fast, we have nitro, ludicrous modes, different modes, depending on how aggressive you would like to go. And then you're all set. So this is where our promise for 3 minutes come from. And when we originally started thinking in the same direction with WP Engine, our cornerstone decision was, can we make a solution which is as simple as possible for the end user, where they can get immediate visible benefits on the way that their website loads, and this should happen with a single click of a button. So this is how we came with the name NitroPack One Click, because you really need only one click to set it up, and this is what WP Engine loves about the solution that we proposed, and this is how actually Page Speed Boost was born by NitroPack. And all I can say is that it was taken very warm-heartedly by the WP Engine audience. We saw great adoption. We saw great benefits. We saw not a lot of support, which is always a good thing. So this is when we knew that all right, this thing works, and we're super happy to pilot it with one of the best hosting providers out there.
Well, we certainly appreciate that. And one of the things I love most about WordPress and just the open source community is just there's so many different ways to be a part of it. And because it's such a complex ecosystem, for me, I love design. So it is my goal to beautify the web and to make it more beautiful, obviously functional. With you guys, it seems like, you've set out to just establish a faster web that loads more efficiently, which is obviously more delightful for users to experience a website. Obviously, for things like Core Web Vitals and page speed and all of that, it also sort of accomplishes that. Do either one of you guys have some sort of like origin story for like what made you care so much about making the web faster?
I think we both do. So, Georgi, why don't you go first and I'll see?
We do have origin story, and this story changed over time because web changed over time. So the problems we were facing in web in 2013, I would say about 50% different from the problems we're facing right now in terms of performance. But the bottom line for us was also that we wanted to have more like a desktop experience back in the time in web, because back in the time also the internet connections were not that fast. So it was a very visible problem to solve. And also the browsers was less capable, the computers were less capable. So it was a very easy problem. Okay, easy problem to understand that it needs to be solved, but it was not very easily solvable. And for example, techniques like putting all the images into a single image and loading only one resource and then showing only part of the resource on the front end was a huge differentiator in order to make the user experience better. Now, going forward to 2024, this performance side of the web loading actually converted more to a user-centric performance, which means that now we are analyzing things like how the user is experiencing the web page. Is it are we serving the visible part first and then delaying everything non-visible? Is the user interacting in the right way? Is he getting a responsive interactions and things like this? So this is where the current performance focus is. And all of the cases, our focus is to help the users to actually experience faster loading. And that has been our biggest motivator since the very beginning.
I would rate this 10 out of 10 in terms of a response. In my opinion, if I have to go all the way back when we were starting, I think throughout the evolution of humanity and people wanted always bigger, faster, better. So this is how we kind of like build this as a stepping stone towards what we try to achieve. We knew how important it is to make the web faster. After all, this was one of the credos of Google as well. They made it not only accessible, but we believe that they try to make it faster as well with platforms in the face of WordPress as partners. So we just wanted to give our input into making this mission a reality. We chose speed in terms of a domain, and we just gave our best to be the best at it.
Yeah, I appreciate what you guys have said. And Georgie, I really love the call out of sort of starting with desktop and sort of transitioning to mobile, because every aspect of WordPress, whether it be, page loading or even design, again, as a designer, the whole idea of responsive design, mobile first and all of that, it sort of hits that when things sort of switched over from like 50% desktop to 50% mobile. And it's amazing. And especially even going as granular as, e-commerce and WooCommerce, and how important it is, not just from like a search perspective, but from a user perspective, making sure things load fast and all of that. Like, I appreciate sort of the emphasis on sort of following the trend of viewership on what devices, mobile first, responsive design, intrinsic design, and all of that, like, is sort of the language I look at this all from. And so I remember even during the days of the Genesis framework, when we switched over to sort of a mobile first style system. And of course, the evolution of Gutenberg and the now block editor in WordPress also has room for improvement, as I think all can agree. But also just sort of the intrinsic nature in which that block editor is serving up the ability for people to design and build their own websites. With the time we have left, I do want to sort of shift over a little bit into page speed boost, into the acquisition. In our announcement post, you guys are sort of quoted as, and I really appreciate this, again, because I've been in the exact same shoes as you. I'm going to just give a little quote from our announcement relative to the partnership with WP Engine in particular. Having sold companies before, we're highly selective about who we do business with, and our journey with WP Engine has reaffirmed that they're the right fit for our team, our technology, and our customers, all of which are very important factors, by the way. At least when, and I'll jump into that really quickly. For those who are listening, when you sell a company, there's lots of considerations. Is the thing I'm selling getting valued? Obviously, the money part of it matters, but also the fit, the sort of transitional piece. In other words, will the company do with my product what I hoped I could do, but decided I didn't want to do by myself, or needed someone else to sort of take the baton and run with it? In other words, are they going to see out the vision? And then also, and for me, this was crucial, and it was actually a delineating factor as to why, when we sold StudioPress to WP Engine, the people, because the people matter. And I've always been a people person. I know you guys are people also. That kind of sounds funny. But when I sold to WP Engine with StudioPress, we had a relatively small team. Maybe there's like 15 or 20. The 5 of us partners decided not to come over with that transition. But the people that made up StudioPress, those who made it a success, the ones whose families depended on it, I insisted it was a deal breaker if WP Engine did not take the people with the acquisition. Let's just talk a little bit less about the specifics in terms of the money, because that's not important, and certainly business only between you and the company. But let's talk about the decision to sell, kind of how you guys as founders came to that, maybe some of the process. I wrestled with it a little bit because it was, quote, my baby when we sold, and handing that over is not always easy. Let's talk a little bit about just the process of sort of the acquisition, and then just kind of head into like what's next, both for NitroPack and the people. I mean, you have a lot of folks on your about page, people who are part of the NitroPack company in various fashions. And from what I understand, our marketing side, we get to have the luxury of sort of infusing a few of your folks into our marketing, which I'm looking forward to meeting them. And then a little bit about what's next, because I know what's next for you guys is a little different than what's next for NitroPack. Let's start with that. Mihail, maybe just talk about how the actual conversations took place, and like what were the considerations you guys had in terms of selling to WP Engine?
In the beginning, I want to say that it happened very much faster than we anticipated. So we just came from another exit, and kind of like we're on year 1 plus on our journey. And we got approached first with the idea of, let's see if we can do something together. We always believe this is the right way to kind of like vet on culture. The same thing that you mentioned, Brian, and how you believe the other side will be, in a relationship, because an acquisition is a relationship, and partnerships is also a partnership is also a certain type of a relationship. So we saw that things worked pretty well with PageSpeed Boost and NitroPack One Click. So we actually started giving this a thought, and our logic was, well, we have north of 200,000 K websites right now, and WP Engine has 1.5 million. We have 1 million websites as a North Star on our mind. So, what would be the fastest way to go to 1 million websites? Because in the end of the day, when we boast about helping making the internet faster, improving WordPress in the capacity of what the businesses need the most, um, we also are constrained by time. So if we can speed up the whole process and partner with the best in breed provider out there, would this be a win for everyone? If someone in a smaller company wanted to grow into a position which we don't have, and then we would tell them we don't have it, so they essentially have to look somewhere else, are we doing this person a favor, or are we just not taking care of them? And the same considerations that you mentioned about people, we put those on the map as well. And we thought, all right, what would be best, first of all, for WordPress businesses, how we can reach to this 1 million websites in the fastest manner, and who can carry on the legacy so NitroPack can continue existing as a tested and true brand, and what can we do in order to help our folks exceed in their careers while we still remain focused on something that we love doing. And by the way, how we can make sure that we maintain this thing and we make sure that we are around and we help not only not make mistakes which might turn south, but in the same way also help accelerate the mission to reach towards those goals. So at least in my mind, we thought that those are the right consideration parameters. Is the player respected in the industry? Check mark. Is this a company that has already done acquisitions? So are they going to take care of the folks in the proper manner? Yes. Can we potentially expand the office? We are from Bulgaria, so it's a small country in Southeast Europe. So can we potentially bring a global player to the local market where they can, grow and expand? And last but not least, will this legacy stay? And are we going to be extremely proud of where the company that acquired us, in this case, we're happy to say, is WP Engine, takes NitroPack in a few years, and we can say, oh my gosh, they've made it. And they even exceeded our expectations.
Well, Georgi, before you jump in, I will assure both of you, based on my experience, the company culture at WP Engine is amazing. That the care for those who are coming in from an acquisition, in other words, the employees or contractors that come with the acquisition, everybody came over intact, and most of which have been here ever since the acquisition and have found their way through various parts of the company, just identifying by opportunities and just being recognized for their leadership skills and all of that. And so I love the fact that 6 years after our acquisition, there are people in the company at very high levels who came through the Studio Press acquisition and kind of like a proud parent. It's like I knew that my kids, those who kind of were working for us, were special and skilled. And it just took the acquisition and sort of the integration of those people and the identification of their skill sets and all that kind of stuff. Every day when we're on calls, and I'm like, I just love seeing that the integration of the cultures, regardless of location, right? Some of ours were on the other side of the globe, and that didn't matter, and we made it work. And I know we have a huge presence over in Europe anyways, and we have a hub office, at least one over there. I assure you that those who are coming over with the acquisition will be well taken care of.
Thank you for sharing this, Brian. I can feel it. Honestly, I can feel it. It's already been a few days, but I can feel it, and I'm very happy about the move we did.
One more call out before, Georgi, I'll ask you. I love, Mihail, when you said an acquisition is a relationship, because it really is often it's not. And users and community folks and everybody involved can detect when it's not. And so I think WP Engine has always, through the acquisition of Studio Press, Atomic Blocks and Mike McAllister and ACF and Flywheel, like it really is and always has been that way for us. So I feel very proud about that part of it. So Georgi, let me ask you, now that WP Engine is the owner of NitroPack, and without necessarily going into, trade secrets and all of that kind of stuff, where should, and I was asked this yesterday, actually, on one of our community agency partner calls, what does the future look like? What should folks expect from sort of the togetherness now that WP Engine and NitroPack will have? From your understanding, because I assume there's been obviously some conversation around that, what should users expect kind of moving forward? And then after that, I just want to know what you guys are going to personally do, because I know you guys have already committed to working on the next thing, which is fantastic. And I'd just love to wrap up a little bit on what's next for you guys.
First, what we expect from NitroPack and where our focus will go. We want to have a better and more powerful NitroPack within WordPress, and we want to basically stay open for any WordPress vendor out there. And that's going to be the focus of NitroPack. And what's next is actually the next thing is actually complementing NitroPack. So we're planning to launch a solution called Navigation AI. It was showcased on Google I/O this year, and this solution will be optimizing navigation. So basically it will be predicting the user next navigation and preparing it and optimizing it. And it will play very well with NitroPack. So this will be basically a complementing solution, and we'll continue building and innovating on solutions related to real user experience and improvement of the real user experience.
Mihail, how about you? What about, I assume are you guys working together on this project?
We are. So I think Georgi took the stage to introduce it on behalf of both of us. So that will be our, 10th consecutive company we do together. We kind of already know our good sides. We know our responsibilities. So this is one of the advantages of creating things with Georgi. We already know each other since the university, basically. So if anyone out there is listening and they're contemplating on starting a business, that's a great thing. Always look for anybody you have a trust in. And if you're looking for a hosting provider, look no further than WP Engine.
Well, that is the best mic drop we can do here. On that note, we're just going to, we'll call this one a session. Georgi and Mihail, again, congratulations to you both on not your first exit, but this exit in particular, as it affects me and the WP Engine and WordPress communities. I wish you guys both the very best in Navigation AI. Thank you for sharing that a little bit. I'll make sure I personally kind of follow along that journey to see what you guys are up to and how that works. And as a reminder, the Press This podcast delivers valuable insights and actionable tips for navigating the ever-evolving world of WordPress. I am your host, Brian Gardner. I am WordPress advocate here at WP Engine, and I love exploring topics within the community, bringing in folks from the community, as well as a huge champion of the direction of WordPress is taking with the block editor. And thanks again for listening. Have a great day.